Hello, you speakers. I'm Katza.
I'm George.
And I'm Javier.
How easy it is to repeat what someone has said.
Oh well, it's very common when our advanced students want to express or tell what someone else has said. They use the same time. In other words, the same tense. All right. So that's something that we're gonna look into today. Isn't that so, Javier?
Yes, it is. I've noticed that when people talk and they're talking about what somebody else said, they say something like, "Oh, so I was like with Jane, and she was like, oh my God, we just got to go shopping this weekend." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't have any money." And I was like, "Oh my God, just put in the credit card." Notice that they're using just the same tense, the same order of words that everybody uses, right?
Right.
Well, it's not always that way.
All right.
Is it?
Trust me on this one, guys.
So stay tuned. Today you're learning how reported speech has never been easier.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of the Üspk English podcast. Thank you for hitting that play button and subscribing to our podcast channel.
Remember, you can download the learning material from this podcast. You can find the link down below in the description box.
All right, so now, most common mistake advanced learners always make.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to start off with missing out on the opportunities to introduce idioms. Now, here's the hard part. I mean, though I know that our section is called mistakes that students make, but, a lot of mistakes are not really made at this level. But you do miss out on a lot of ways that you can prove that you have a higher level of English. One of them is using idiomatic expressions. And, you have known probably been learning idiomatic expressions since you got to be about intermediate level of English. So why not start using it? A lot of times students will know a phrase, will know an idiom, but not use it. Look, for example, last night, it was raining really hard. Really hard.
It was raining cats and dogs.
It was raining cats and dogs. Thank you. Cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs. So never miss out, of all your arsenal of idiomatic expressions to put them in there and show them how good you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Please do. Please do. Okay, I have another one. This is quite common, mostly with intermediate learners, maybe intermediate and up. Using haven't to referring to something that doesn't belong to us, or for possessives. Instead of using don't have or doesn't have, they use haven't, right? So remember, we use haven't, yes, but it's to talk about actions not done yet or not done at the time of speaking, at the moment of speaking. Now, the correct way to say this would be doesn't have or don't have or didn't have, depending on the time that you are using your sentence. For example, I don't have enough time for this, right? Or he didn't have breakfast this morning, meaning it's really late at night, morning is gone, then I can say that he didn't have breakfast this morning. Okay.
Do you think maybe it was an influence of British English? Like, I haven't the time to deal with this. I haven't the time for this rubbish.
That's vintage English, I think, because it's really classic old vintage
old English,
old school English. Yes. Actually, the British actually they use the word have got, the have I haven't got the time, but they have to throw in the got there. So
I haven't got the time.
I haven't got the time. Yeah, exactly. So
fancy.
Yeah, it is. It is. It sounds fancy. All right. What about you, George? You have one?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I heard a couple of these this week. One of them is, there's a tendency for some learners to add the word to words or phrases that don't need it. For example, the word near. Okay, and I understand it because I speak Spanish, and this probably comes from Spanish, and they feel they need to include it. So they would say, there's a gas station near to my house.
Yeah.
Near to my house. Okay, I can translate that. Cerca de mi casa. I get it. Okay, just don't use it. Okay, you don't need to. I mean, it's not correct. You don't need to, and it's not correct anyway to put the word, add the preposition to near to. Just say, the gas station. There's a gas station near my house, not near to my house.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Near.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. Another word, just very, very similar is the word behind. All right. That's okay. It's behind to my car.
Yeah.
I get it. Detrás del carro. They're trying to use the word to as a substitution for
Yes.
de.
Yeah.
De.
Exactly. So
So yeah, don't say it. It's just it's behind my house, or it's behind the supermarket, or it's
Correct.
behind the box.
Right.
Behind and just the place or the object that you're referring to, using as a reference. Do not use the preposition to with near or behind. Yep.
Or the preposition of. I've heard this also.
Mhm.
Behind
Which one?
of my house.
Oh my God, that's a lot of
Yeah.
Are you
That's
serious?
really,
Like,
really
behind,
translated.
off to, next to?
Yes,
My
yes.
house.
Of my
That's a
house.
good
Yeah.
one. Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know why, but like, the song just came up to my head. Like, don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't say it.
Don't say next to my house tonight.
Yeah, let's write a song. We should
Yeah,
write a
don't
song
say.
jingle
You can
for
say
the
anything, but
podcast.
don't say prepositions with other type of expressions. No, that's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much.
Okay.
You're not.
Okay.
Thank God you're a English teacher, not a composer.
There you go. Now you know why
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not.
quit your day job, okay?
That's why I'm still here with you guys.
Don't quit your day job. Yes.
Ouch. Ouch. This is
Me neither, man. I have a terrible voice. So
this is my day job. Wait a minute.
I cannot sing at all.
All right, let's go for the next section. So we have cosas en español que no tenemos en inglés. George, you're
Right,
first.
Get
okay.
it.
Neta? Neta? Katza?
Really? Yeah,
Neta.
really.
Neta or neto? Or is
Or
it
this
nete?
expression, this is as our most of our community, if not all, they're Spanish speakers. Neta. Well, I don't need to explain this. You know what it means.
Right.
Okay. It means, and there's not an exact translation where that the equivalent would be really.
Mhm,
Okay. Like really. Yeah, really.
mhm.
Okay. And it's more commonly used in informal ways in Spanish. Okay.
Yeah.
In
that's right.
English, the closest to it would be really. The other one is informal too, and it's chido.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, está chido. It's like
Uh-huh.
it's cool. It's hey, that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
The equivalent one would be cool.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and cool. Well, everybody knows what cool is. It's even a word that's been adopted by
Yeah.
by our culture. Even
Uh-huh.
Yes.
now they say, if you watch
cool.
any influencer on YouTube or on TikTok, they use the word cool. They don't even use the word Cheeto anymore. Oh,
No.
it's not cool. It's not cool.
Oh,
so it's a word that's been adopted now.
Yeah.
Forgetting to just go with Spanglish.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are adopting a lot of words in English into our vocabulary in Spanish.
We are.
All right. Also, another one is órale.
Orale.
Órale.
That's my favorite
Órale.
one.
Órale.
Órale.
This word has different meanings depending on how you say it. There's no
Yeah.
direct translation into English.
Yeah.
So it's like come on. Órale, like move it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Chop.
Chop,
All right,
chop.
so it could
Uh-huh.
be it could be that way.
It could also mean like wow, like what?
Yeah.
Orale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Depending on
good.
the intonation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if for all of our community out, listening to us, if you ever want to say "órale" in English,
You gotta be careful with that
as,
one.
as
Yeah.
like being surprised, or you say "wow." Okay, so
Wow.
there's no "órale."
You can show the like disbelief, like see tu, órale.
Really, "órale."
Yeah, it's a lot. That's my favorite one. It's got about 10 meanings. I mean, you guys want to look
Yes.
it up? But if you're not a Spanish learner, yeah, look into that one. That was very common.
Yeah, it'll give you broader
Broader
Intonation.
range
vocabulary there.
of
Yeah, broader
words.
range, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
my particular case, guys. When you have a flat tire, we say "está ponchada," right? So to
Right.
fix the flat tire, we say "desponchar."
Wow.
Don't you? Okay,
Really?
so we don't have that. We don't have that.
Really?
It is. I'm sorry, guys. It's in the dictionary. Okay, look
This
it up.
is even for our Spanish learners too.
Yeah.
Come on, where's your
It
sense
is,
of
it is
adventure? and
officially in the dictionary.
This
We have
is discourse
double checked.
analysis. I looked it up.
There.
Okay.
Yeah,
It is there. Okay.
yeah.
Sad
We
but true.
looked it up. We looked it
Yeah,
up.
believe it or
So,
not.
yeah.
Okay, sad but true. Okay, so thank you. The defense rests. I rest my case. And the second one is when somebody takes after, particularly the grandparents, we say abuelio. El niño está abuelito
Ooh.
porque abuelió. That means he took after his grandfather. Now, that only works in Spanish.
So that would be the
Only
most
works in Spanish.
accurate translation. If you want to say, okay, if anybody wants to say, so how would I say it in English?
You couldn't say it,
But
because
there's something similar, isn't there? Like take
Yeah.
after.
there is take after, but you got to keep in mind take after does not only mean physically. I mean, you might have your personality of your,
or
for example,
attitudes.
I take after my dad because my mother was a beautiful woman and I don't look like that. But I think I take after my dad in the way he was because my mother had a really different personality as mine.
Órale.
Órale. Wow, surprise.
Wow.
There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
so it has that kind of like double meaning of the word, and we don't really have that in Spanish.
Right.
Can't really say that.
All right. I have another one.
Yeah.
El mundo es un pañuelo. This is a phrase. El mundo es un pañuelo. In Spanish, it's easy to find the metaphor. For example, the world is a handkerchief. Doesn't really work the
No,
same
I don't know what
way.
that means. Never heard that before.
No, we actually don't say that. We say in English, we say it's a small world, right? So that would be the equivalent.
Okay.
This is a small world.
So
So
like
even
Disneyland?
though
Like it's a small world.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so even though technically and grammatically the sentence would be correct, the world is a handkerchief, but it doesn't have the strong meaning about this. It's a small world. So the small world will be a natural way to say something like this. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a good one.
Interesting.
Okay. Now to the main topic.
Okay.
Please avoid going like, and I was like, and then was like, and then he was like, by using reported speech. All right. Javier, could you explain reported speech to our audience?
By all means. Okay, we use reported speech when we want to repeat what someone else has said. For example, we use reported speech when we want to tell someone what someone else said. We usually use reported verbs. For example, he said, he told me, he asked me. And then change the tense of what we actually said in direct speech. So George says, go unfix your flat tire. And I could say, George told me to unfix my flat tire.
Right.
Okay.
So there's do you guys do you know like a dialogue? Do you think you can do a dialogue?
We can improvise something right now, right?
Improvise.
We can do something right now.
Let's
Okay,
see.
there you go. Okay.
I'll say, okay, hey, Javier, I'll call you back.
Okay.
What did George say, Javier?
George said that he would call me back. I don't know why he said it that way, but he did say it that way.
I'll call you back.
I'll call you back.
I'll call you back, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So George.
Yeah. So guys, it's call it a hack. It's to start mastering reported speeches, replacing the typical, I was like, he was like, oh, and then he went and she went, which is a very informal way of speaking. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you got to keep in mind is any tense that you hear the original sentences, be it in the present, in the past, or in the future, you have to go a step back. Imagine you're standing and then instead of walking forward, you're stepping back. For instance, if you remember our dialogue, I said, I'll call you back. I use will. I will call you back. Javier had two ways of reporting that. Okay. He could use in a quotation mark. George said, I quote, I'll call you back. All right. But it's not so common, right? Unless you want to be very emphatic what he said. Okay. Yeah. The reported speech is the equivalent of will in the past is would. So in this case, that's why Javier said, George said he would call me back. He didn't say will. Notice how will is transformed to would.
Yeah.
And that's the logic that we use. Okay, for example, if I say, hey, I am tired, well, Javier would say, oh, George said he claims he was tired. Or he said he was tired.
Yes.
He said he was tired. So as I originally said, the original phrase is I am tired. Verb to be in present. Javier would say, George said, not says, George said he was tired. Okay, you notice how the verb changed from present to past? So and that's the same. If you're going to say a sentence in present, you're going to report it past. All right. If you're going to report it, if the sentence was past, well, you're going to report in past perfect.
You got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you're gonna say the original if the original sentence is with can, well, the reported speech is with could. All right, and we're gonna give you some examples right here, and you'll find more material of this in our blog.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
now
right.
guys, there's one more way to do it. There's one little bitty aspect of reported speech that you can add the word that to your reported speech. So, for example, George, say the sentence again for me.
All right, I'll call you back.
Well, I can say George said that he would call me back. That he would call me back. Now you can use both. George said he would call me back, or George said that he would call me back. Whichever of the ones you use is good. I like to use the word that because it gives me a little bit more time to think of what I'm doing. And it doesn't hinder fluency. But there's just a matter of styles.
So in this case, Javier, just because for our lower level students, most of them understand that as a demonstrative word, like ese o esa. In this case, that doesn't mean ese o esa.
No,
Right?
it's used more like que.
Like que.
Dijo
que me
que.
iba a llamar.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's easier for Spanish speakers to relate.
To actually use that, right?
To use that, exactly. Because this is how we would say it in Spanish.
Exactly. Just don't use
George me dijo que me llamaría.
Yeah, just don't use George said that he would call me back because he was next to the park. No, so just don't say that. Don't say that next to or behind to.
Behind to the park.
George said that he would call me back.
Park?
He said he was near to the park. Just don't say the other one, okay? Just
behind to the park.
Near to the fence. Okay. Now, the reported speech has the basic rules of element that you have to change the pronoun who you're talking to. He said, he told me that. The changes to not only the person but the pronoun that you're using it with. In direct speech, what the person said, that has to be changed 1 tenth in the back. Exactly what George said. Think of it like stepping 1 foot forward, you have to take 1 foot back. Now, once you get to the back and you can't go back any further, then that's it. George said, I could help you tomorrow. The past of could is there's no past of could, so I would have to report as he said that he could help me tomorrow.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
That's pretty easy.
And here, guys, I just want to mention something. It is important that, as Javier mentioned, the most common, introduction words for reported speech are say, tell, and ask. These words, you do have to say them in past. Said, told, and asked. All right. These verbs have to be in past because if you say them in present, says and tells and asks, the reported speech would have to be in present. Basically, you would make a tense shift here.
There you go.
Right. There you go. Yes. All right. Thank you, Javier and George. Now, I really want to say something about what was said before about the setting. Okay, so you must know that native speakers have actually accepted the quote, I was like, duh, and then he was like staring at me type of conversation. And you will hear this in movies and TV shows and maybe even in the radio, it's like really, really there. But learning this reported speech will help you interact more naturally. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
But this type of speech you should only use in formal settings. That doesn't mean that you don't have to learn the I was like, she was like, and then he was like. You have to learn it because you will hear it, and sometime at some point you will have to use it.
Yeah.
But you also need to learn reported speech because this is more for a formal setting. For example, for work, maybe a family reunion when there's an old aunt that you cannot really talk to her like this. So you really have to focus on this, right?
Absolutely. It's without a doubt. This is something that it's just common sense, right? Even in Spanish, there are formal ways and informal ways of speaking, and you have to choose a setting who are you talking with?
Yes.
Where are you? And it's the level of language. In this case,
Mhm.
I'm not even saying English. I'm saying both Spanish and English
Right.
is the way you're gonna you will speak. All right.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
for instance, imagine you are in a very important meeting. All right, you're giving a meeting to I don't know, possible client, international client. So it's just common sense that you will not use and you should not use. Well, like I said, my boss, like he goes, give them any price they want, as long as we. And then I went like, you don't want to talk like you don't want to speak like that because it's not professional.
Yes.
So yes, so using reported speech properly, well, demonstrate that your level of English is high,
Mhm.
and also your education, right?
Yeah.
And in all fields, okay,
Absolutely.
especially in if you're a professional, you do want to master reported speech to sound very formal and very proper.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. All right. Quiz time. Real quick.
Yeah.
Right. Are you guys ready?
Ready,
So,
willing.
Yes.
I will say a phrase, and Javier and George will take turns to repeat what I've said, but
Okay.
using reported speech. Now,
Uh,
if you're listening to this podcast, make sure you pause it so you can practice your reported speech. Write your answers down and then check for accuracy.
there you
Okay.
go.
Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
Okay.
Phrase number 1. This one's for George. All right. I have a daughter. She's going to university next fall.
And then
And then
I tell the rest of the group, guess what, guys? Katza, she said her daughter was going to the university next fall. Yeah. She
Nice.
said that.
Bravo. Very good.
Bravo,
All
bravo.
right. Second phrase. Javier, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Our children are usually well behaved.
Okay, and I said, hey guys, you know what Casa told me? She said that she and her husband's children were usually well behaved.
Usually.
We're well behaved. Yes.
Which
We're
I doubt, but
well-behaved.
okay, I doubt. Okay, I don't know.
Come on, they're my children.
Okay. Children,
Okay.
children of the corn. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Just kidding.
All right. Third phrase. Okay. George, that's for you. Alexander said, my daughter plays the piano.
All right. Okay. Alexander said that his daughter played the piano.
Yes. Very good. Okay. Good job. I know that all of our students and learners and listeners got it right. Well done. Good job. Let's wrap things up.
All right, guys. Well, it's always
Time's
a pleasure
up.
being here with you. Yeah, it's always a pleasure being with you. And until next time.
Yeah.
Well, George
yeah.
said that it was a pleasure being with us, and I totally
Mhm.
agree.
Yes, I agree too. Okay, this is it for today. Thank you to all of our audience out there. And remember to subscribe to our channel. If you like this podcast, please share it with all your friends. You should also check out our YouTube channel where you can get the video version of this podcast. And of course, you're more than welcome to comment on our videos. You can also visit our website where you can find articles about English learning and practice. All
And
right.
for extra points, you can change all of our podcasts into reported speech.
Yeah.
I would like to
Oh,
see that.
so interesting.
If anybody takes me up on that, let me know. Please.
Yeah, we should
Change the whole
assignment.
podcast.
I see assignment coming. I see assignment coming. All right. Thank you guys so much. Till next time.
All right.
Bye, you
Bye.
speakers.